Hi guys, it's James from Wex Photo Video, and today we're testing out OM System's brand new macro lens, the 90mm f3.5 macro. Now, I think macro lenses are incredibly versatile. I think they're great for wildlife, they're great for landscape, portrait, but obviously they're designed for macro. Now, most macro lenses have a 1x magnification, which means it projects basically real life size onto the size of the sensor. Now, if you're lucky, you might be able to find a lens with a 1.4 or a 1.5x magnification, but this lens here offers or goes one step further, offering a whopping 2x magnification, which is really good, especially when you think this lens has autofocus and image stabilisation built in. Now, because this lens is a micro four third lens, that 90mm focal length is the equivalent of about 180mm in full frame. So it is quite a tight focal length. It's one of the more tighter macro lenses you can get on the market. Most macro lenses are maybe 60 to all the way to 100mm, but this is almost double that. And that's what gives it that 2x magnification. Now, this lens is also quite heavy as well for a micro four thirds lens, coming in at 453 grams. Granted, it's not the heaviest lens out there. It's got a really nice build quality to it, but because of that complicated optical formula, it is a little bit heavier than you might necessarily expect from a micro four thirds lens. Now, on the top here, you've got your focus ring. Now, obviously it has got autofocus, which is really nice, and you can rely on it for most of the shots you're going to need. But if you do need to jump into manual focus, and I really like this, all you need to do is simply pull down on that autofocus ring, and then it simply locks into manual focus, which is really, really nice. Now, it doesn't have a clutch mechanism, so it means it's got a maximum and minimum focus stops, which again is really handy for macro photography. So you can dial in basically your exact focus distance on this lens really easily. Now, you've also got two switches on the side here. You've got firstly an IS switch, which you can turn it on and off, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But you've also got a focus limiter switch. Now, the big problem, I suppose, with macro lenses is they've usually got slower autofocus. So you can use that focus limiter switch to speed up that autofocus so it doesn't have to hunt all the way through its focal range. Now, another thing this lens has versus other traditional macro lenses is image stabilisation, which is really handy, especially if you're hand holding it and you're trying to get that shot but everything keeps moving or getting motion blur. Having image stabilisation built in is really handy. Now, it offers 6 stops natively in the lens, but it has also got Sync IS as well. So if you place it with maybe the Olympus OM1 or OM5, you'll be able to get up to 7 stops of image stabilisation. Great, it's only one more stop more, but it could definitely help out, especially with macro photography. Now, I've been using this lens all day and I really, really like it. Oh, sorry. Oh, so I'm getting a bit tired now. So let me quickly go grab a coffee before we go ahead and start shooting with this lens, because I want to try something quite unique. I'll be back in a second. Oh, editor, cut to the coffee montage. Oh, that's better. I'm a little bit more human after I've had my coffee. Right, so the plan for this lens. Now, I'm not great at macro photography. I don't do it a lot, so I'm gonna try and be a little bit creative with it. Now, I've always wanted to get that water droplet shot. When you drop a droplet of water, maybe a little bit of color to it, dropping into that water. Now, capturing that shot means you're gonna need a camera with firstly a high frames per second. Luckily, I've got the OM1, and you're gonna need a macro lens. And I've got 2 of them. So let's go give it a go. Right, so this is basically all you're gonna need for this shot. So camera, lens, you've got basically water. I've got it in a wine glass, and then you're gonna need your food dye. And the last thing you're gonna need is some kind of syringe. Now, what you wanna do is basically take the food dye out of the glass here, in the syringe, and then you just want to basically drop it, as you can see here, and it creates this really cool effect. Now, what's really nice is I've got the macro just set up right on the top. Now, I've got it in manual focus, recommend having it in manual focus for this shot, and you just want to get it so the middle of the glass is in focus. Now, you can put the syringe in the water to see, and I think I'm quite happy with that shot there. Now, my settings for this is you want quite a fast shutter speed. So I've got 1,000th of a second to really capture that action. I'm shooting at f4, but I'm gonna trial to see if I need it wider or shallower, and then I'm shooting at 4,000 ISO, which granted is a little bit high, but I want to add more light, but I don't have any more light in my studio. So the last thing you want to do is to put it on continuous shutter. So I'm going to place it on continuous sequential shutter on here, because obviously you want to capture as many shots as possible. Now, this is probably going to take me quite a few times, but let's see if I can get it on the first go, because I haven't tried this before. Okay, so hold it over the top, and then, right, let's see if I've got that shot. Right, I'm roughly getting what I'm after, but it's not looking that great. So let me try that a few more times. Again, it's a real trial and error, this. So let me try that one more time. Right then, 3, 2. You're gonna end up with a lot of photos on this, aren't you? Let's have a look. There we go. That is looking a lot better. So what you want to really try to do is trying to capture that water as it hits the water, kind of jumps back up again, and you get this really cool effect. There we go. I think I've chosen that photo. 650 is the photo I think I'm going to go for. And yeah, so that quite a simple shot. Now, what I really like about this lens is, again, you can use it for pretty much anything. Wildlife, which I can show you a few shots here with a few swans. Obviously, you've got it for product photography, but you've also got it for portrait and landscape as well. Macro lenses are always really sharp, so it doesn't matter what you throw at it, it's an incredibly versatile lens. Now, the good thing about this is also weather and moisture resistant. So if you are ever shooting in the rain or you're shooting in a cold environment, you can really rely on this lens to offer the best weatherproofing possible. And obviously, if you're doing anything like this, you get a little bit of water on it, you should be okay. It has an IPS 53 rating. So really good, I think, well-made lens. Now, if you want to know any more information about this lens, go ahead to the link in the description, go to the Wex Photo video website, where you can go ahead and pre-order it if you're interested, or find out any more information. A ton more information will be available on the Wex Photo video website. I've been James for Wex Photo Video, and I'll catch you guys next time.